Hello everyone, TJV here, and today I'm going to be talking about the Scott and Liz situation. Mainly, I will be talking about their son, Bimmith, Scott and Liz's son, Bimmith. Bimmith has approached me in Discord DMs with permission from his dad, Scott, to pretty much put his side of the story out there and put the situation to rest because he's seen a lot of opinions out there on both his dad and his mom and even himself, and he wanted to put his words out there to be like sort of the final words going out there about the entire situation, and then finally putting everything to rest. I had a whole Discord call with Bimmith with his father Scott being by his side, so I was able to recognize Scott's voice, knowing that I know that this is Bimmith for sure. And within this call we agreed that I was going to ask him about 8 questions and he was going to be able to answer those questions any way he wants to, and this will sort of be the final words about the entire situation between Scott, Liz. It did involve H2O Delirious a little bit, and of course Bimmith, Scott and Liz's son. Now I'm going to give a quick little summary to those who don't know what the Scott and Liz drama is in the first place. So if you already know what's going on, skip to this timestamp, where at this timestamp I will be going over the questions and Bimmith's answers real quick. But to those who don't know what's going on, let me catch you up on what's going on. So Scott is somebody who I got in contact with a while ago, and he pretty much wanted an interview or some sort of video made where he can get his side of the story out there. Scott felt like he wasn't able to see his son, and he pretty much felt like his son was taken away from him by Liz, which Scott's kid was living with Liz, and Liz was living with Delirious at the time. Scott said a lot of things, not only about Liz, his son, but also about Delirious. It caused a lot of drama to where Delirious was hopping up in my live chats and in the comment sections. Liz was hopping into my live chats. Scott was not only hopping into my actual live stream to talk on live stream, but also my live chats as well. And there was a lot of ongoing drama for a couple months. It involved other commentary channels as well, including Toy Bounty Hunters, Mr.sen. And on top of all of this, there was a lot of negativity going a lot of different ways. People were either hating on Liz and Delirious because of their lack of response at the time, or the responses that they did have in my comment sections or my live chats. Or 2, there was a lot of negativity and hate going towards Scott. Some people were not liking me either at the time because of the nature of me just deciding to talk about it at the time, but that didn't really bother me that much. And then eventually Liz did put out her side of the story, where she dumped a lot of screenshots out there with also her giving her side of the story as well, which I made an entire video talking about this. And she pretty much showed that Scott was saying a lot of things very inappropriate regardless of who it was being directed at. And the entire situation pretty much got summed up to they're going to family court and there was going to be no more talking about it online, which pretty much put the entire situation at a standstill, and we still don't know what happened in family court. I wasn't able to ask any questions about anything to do with family court or between Scott and Liz, and I'm sure neither Scott or Liz are able to talk about family court or what happened there, as that is their own business anyways. But Bimmith did want to approach me to sort of put his final words out there, and for this to pretty much conclude the entire situation. So now we jump into the questions, and like I said before, I had about an hour-long call with Bimmith on his own Discord account, where his father was right by his side. I could hear his father's voice, and he could confirm that it is him, Scott, and that this is his son, Bimmith, that's talking to me on the phone. Having said this, my first question is, how is your life going, Bimmith? He said, my life has been going good since I've returned back to my dad's house. Living in a quiet place without much noise or so much drama is much better. My cat and I are happy to be home. This would imply that there was a lot of drama or noise happening wherever he was living before, which to our knowledge, he was living with Liz at the time. I asked Bimmith, how are you and your dad doing? Me and my dad have been feeling pretty good about everything moving forward. He's helping me catch up on work I missed from school while at my mom's. She didn't really help me while I was there. It's also great finally having some conversations. I was mostly left alone in my room at my mom's. Following that up, I also asked, how are you and your mom Liz doing? My mother and I have not been on the best of terms right now. She is still my mother though. So this shows Bimmith, as a very young kid, is still being positive about everything regardless of what is going on. Are you happy with your current living situation? If so, why? If not, why? Bimmith is currently living with his dad, to give context. I am very happy with my living situation. Me and my mom don't have have a lot in common. My dad and I share a lot of interests, so we were rarely bored, which means I don't always have to lead with more intellectual or deep conversations, or conversations in general. It's more of a dialogue. The food is also a lot better as well. Everything has been home cooked. We haven't ordered out once. My next question was, what are/were your thoughts on the drama between your mom and your dad, Scott and Liz? Honestly, my dad and I rarely have conflicts unless my mom gets involved. I think my mother was antagonizing and encouraging a breakdown of communication at the wrong time. My dad was put through a very traumatic and emotional experience, so my mom's behavior did not help. He was trying to protect everyone. This includes my mom and sisters. My mom restricted communication when he needed help and support. He felt betrayed and acted out. It was a mistake on his part, but he wasn't really himself at the time. I then asked, why did you choose to reach out to me? I wanted to set the record straight, provide facts, and give more clarity regarding my own feelings and my relationship with my parents. I also felt like my dad was being treated unfairly by well-intentioned fans. I heard all sorts of weird things that just were not true. My second to last question was, what would you like to say to the community who worried about you a while ago during the situation between Scott and Liz? Bimmith says, I appreciate the sentiment. I can also understand where people might have gotten the impression that I was abused or how fans allowed their imaginations to go weird/wild. I have a pretty normal and often great life. I don't get hit or abused by either of my parents. I do get along better with my dad though. I do not like what my mother does, and I do not ever see her and I agreeing about that. It's a regular point of conflict. This is referring to what Liz does for a living, having an OnlyFans, and the very nature of what she ends up posting on her social media platforms and what she kind of does for a living. Personally, I can completely understand why Bimmith would feel this way and why Bimmith does not like or agree with what her mother does. I think it's pretty understandable. I know things seem pretty bad. Mom and dad have complex relationships. It's easy to judge from the outside looking in, but fans really don't know what's going on. What might seem like an ideal situation to a fan base might not be everything you imagine. It's easy to make judgments when you don't really know the people involved and by extension why things are the way they are. I'm just glad to be home with my dad, Wecky, and I miss them. I don't know if it's Wecky or Wiki, but that's their cat. My last question was pretty much just an open floor, whatever he wanted to say. Is there anything else you would like for me to add to the video and let everyone else know? Bimmith says, yes, it's easy to fool yourself into thinking you know the people who entertain you online. Just remember that they are providing you with entertainment and most are playing a part. Many people are not anything like you'd imagine them in real life. It's a business. People play their parts to make as much money as they can. When you get a peek into their real life, understand that it might not line up with your expectations. Also, you are only entitled to what someone chooses to give to you. It's generally none of your business, but sometimes real life leaks out onto the public and there isn't much you can do. I was brought into this against my will by both of my parents. Neither of them meant to harm me. My mom and John, Delirious, make things too complicated for a kid. I feel like there are too many eyes on me. I mean, I am only 15 and I was 14 when this all started. It's a lot. And then he added this little fun thing in this Google Doc saying, speaking of money, vote Bimmith 2024. And then a little picture. I don't know what this is, but it looks kind of funny. And yeah, so that is Bimmith's words, that is Bimmith's side of the story, that's what he wanted to provide out here. I was just here reading off, and I guess if you wanted my opinion about all of this, I am just happy that Bimmith was able to come out, share his side of the story. As a 15-year-old, he was 14 when all this started, but the whole fight between Scott and Liz was over Bimmith in the first place, and it was mainly a fight because Scott wanted to talk to his son, but Liz wasn't allowing Bimmith to talk to his dad. So Scott and Liz just duking it out online, a lot of it happening on my channel or over Twitter. It was just a really crazy time, and now that they went to family court, Scott and Liz did, and they kind of resolved family court to the point where Bimmith is now with his father Scott. I think that's just awesome and amazing that they're happy at least, and that Bimmith, the son, the kid that's involved in this entire situation, he's able to be happy, and not only that, brave enough to approach me and ask me, hey, can you make a video so I can put out my side of the story, and he can finally have a little bit more rest and conclusion with this entire situation that broke out online when he was only 14 years old. So yeah, my opinion, I'm glad that they're happy. I'm glad that he got his side of the story out there. And now to anyone else down in the comments, do you feel like this is a good conclusion to the story? And let me know what your guys' thoughts are down below. Thank you guys for watching the video, and I will see you guys all next time. Stay safe. Bye.